Welcome to the Science of Gratitude podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Valerie Mukanga, and each week we'll explore how gratitude transforms our lives through powerful stories and insights. Let's dive in. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Science of Gratitude podcast. Today I have a fantastic guest. Dr. Tolulope Olabintan. She's going to share with us a little bit about herself, and then we're going to dive into her testimony. So, Dr. Tolulope Olabintan, please let us know a little bit about yourself.
All right. My name is Tolulope Olabintan. Tolulope means to God be the glory.
Oh,
As the meaning of my name, I'm a Christian. I'm a wife. I'm a mama. I'm a dog mommy. I'm a mentor. Um, but what I'm most proud of is the fact that I'm a child of God.
amen.
Um, that's my biggest. That's where all my other roles emanate from. So I'm first a Christian and other things. I'm also a foodie. I enjoy eating. I'm a life enthusiast, so I like helping people improve their quality of life and quantity of life. And so that's the mission statement of mine, and I believe that's an assignment too. And I do so as a family physician through my practice and other areas of my life. At least I try to. I try to. Yes. So that's me. And I'm honored to be here. Dr. Valerie is a friend. And so I'm honored to be here. So thank you for having me come on your show.
All right, Doctor, to God be the glory. Because I have learned
Okay.
something today, believe it or not. So please tell us a little bit about the story that you wanted to share with our audience today.
Um, I think I love how God works and
Mm-hmm.
how in his mercy, every season he reveals a deeper truth or he corrects an error or he deepens one's connection in an area. I give an example. Um, I grew up in the church. I've I didn't have a choice. My parents are Christians. You do what mommy and daddy says, and went to church. I gave my life to Christ at one point in my life as a child. I remember watching the movie Burning Hell, and that scared the crap out of me. And I was like, I don't want to go there. And so it made sense to give my life to Christ. And then fast forward um, 20 years later, I was at a point, well, almost 20 years later, I was at a point where I wasn't sure why I believed.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things I had thought I had a sound foundation on were questioned. And I
Mm-hmm.
realized that I believed because that's the only option I had and
Mm-hmm.
because obeying my parents was something that I like to do because I like to gain my parents' approval. And
Mm.
so I am an adult, I am free, independent, and now it's like, do you really believe?
Do you really
And
believe?
I thank God for his mercy. You know, the Bible talks about it. It's hard for someone who was strayed to come back.
Mm-hmm.
But I thank God that in his mercy that there's grace to come back. And
Yes.
so in his mercy, actually I was trying to evangelize someone. There was a guy I liked, and I thought I would win him over for Christ, and that would then make him a suitable candidate to marry. I thought in my head it all would play out, he would love Jesus and that would be it. But instead, he was actually evangelizing me. And before I knew it, I
Mm-hmm.
had left the church. I had denounced Christ
Wow.
publicly too,
Wow.
and to the chagrin of my parents and people who had known me, who had looked up to me as a mentor, as someone they said, oh, that they want their children to emulate. I became the quote unquote heathen that they didn't want their kids to associate with.
Wow.
But I thank God for His mercy
Mm-hmm.
and for the grace of my parents, or the grace of God over the life of my parents, that they loved me even through those seasons.
Mm.
Um, my life has been a testimony, and I thank God for the wisdom God gave them to name me to God be the glory, meaning my life will always be for His glory. So
Wow.
even in my days where I expected them to, cut me off because I had disgraced them, I had not lived the Christian example, they loved me.
Mm-hmm.
That was a different perspective. I mean, my parents have loved me, but they loved me, I thought, because I did what I was supposed to do. But now I was questioning the very faith on which they based their whole life on. And I
Right.
said, no, I don't want this. And I would come home, even bring him home. And my parents loved me. I could see the hurt in their eyes, but they
Mm.
didn't stop telling me the truth. They didn't stop praying for me.
Mm-hmm.
And that confused the heck out of me. I was like, because I had a plan. I had shamed the family. You know, coming from our background, you shame the family so you get disowned. No, they asked us to have breakfast. They said they were going to church. They didn't want to join. I said, no, it's okay. Well, when you're done, let us know. But they loved me. They corrected me. But they did not stop telling me the truth. And they
Right.
said that we love you. We cannot tell you, though you don't like to hear it. And
Mm-hmm.
so when I would come back to Christ,
Mm-hmm.
it was in the privacy of my own room. I remembered encounters
Mm.
with God. I
Yeah.
remember miracles I had witnessed. I've seen
Mm-hmm.
other people testify. I remember the peace that at that point I had lost.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, I have tasted of you, Lord. In the sincerity of my heart, please reveal yourself to me again in a way
Mm.
for me that I know. And I could feel God's presence. Oh, I cried so much, you know. I cried in my room. His presence was tangible. And I said, oh my gosh, even after betraying you, you will still be so gracious to
Mm-hmm.
reveal yourself to me again. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like he gave me a hug and said,
Wow.
you know, I've been here. So I called, I remember calling my mom and saying, I'm tired of running from God.
Mm.
Um, and there were many signs. I actually traveled to Ghana for a mission trip, and it was a drunk Rastafarian. And he said, "You there, yeah man, go back to the Christ, you man." And then he went
You
off
would
the scene.
still
I said,
evangelize in that state?
I said, out of the country, Lord, you still chase me here. Like, what's up? And then I came back to school, and a friend of mine who had left medical school, took a year off, came back and said, there's something different. It's like there's a light missing. I
Mm.
was like, whoa, what is going on? She was like, yeah, there's something missing. There's something not quite the same. She was not
Mm.
a Christian.
Wow.
She was not a faith, but she said there's something missing. Like you're
Wow.
changed. There's a light about you that's no longer there. So
Mm.
I knew I carried something. I had lost it, but I thank God for His mercy. So that's one of the biggest miracles out here. And since then,
Mm-hmm.
God has indulged me in a daddy-daughter relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I share this quite often. My relationship with God is easier. I won't say easier because of the good relationship I have with my dad. He's not a
Mm-hmm.
perfect man,
Right.
but I'm a daddy's girl. And
Mm-hmm.
so the access I have, even when he's upset with me, how I can be, even now, I still remind my dad my birthday. Don't forget. Or I'm like, yay, daddy, I compete with my kids over his attention still at
Yeah.
over 40.
Uh-huh.
So there's a that so in my relationship with God, I can be myself, still get corrected, but still lavish myself as with the innocence and the immaturity of a kid, and
Yes.
come to Him saying, Lord, this person hurt my feelings. Like I'm not happy, or Lord, no offense, but how is that going to work out for my good? I don't see it. I need you to throw me a bone, and or this is not
Right.
what I meant when I prayed. Like you separate me from people. This is not what I
Right.
meant. This is this is not what I meant. I can still keep it real with him, and
Yes.
he's the one person that cannot leave me. And so, as I've grown up, become a mom, become a wife, become a business owner, become a mentor, become all the things, I have seen that the relationship with him has given me increased capacity,
Mm-hmm.
and strength.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So that's one of. I don't know how much time I have, but I wanted to share that.
That's a beautiful testimony, Dr. O. There's so many questions I have, because there's so many people who feel like, okay, so they were born like you were, within a Christian home, and so they feel obligated to stay there. Or there's some people who rebel all, thoroughly, and then they do never come back. And you actually talked about, your coming back. That was pretty smooth because God welcomed you with open with open arms. He never made you feel some kind of way because some people feel like, yes, God corrects and he does. And they feel like, they are not worth anything, that he will never take them back. If somebody came to you and felt that way, they felt so ashamed, or they felt like they had to fix themselves before they could come back, what would you say to that?
Oh my gosh. Like, I denounced God publicly. I didn't think there was coming back from that. And there's the baptism of the Holy Spirit speaking in tongues. I was like, Lord, I know I messed up. I don't know if you want to give me the gift. And he did. See, the truth is the human mind always we think logically. You're a killer, you are an adulterer, your sin is worse than me, a liar.
Right,
In God's eyes, he's ever like this, arms open to receive you.
right.
When you look at the story in the Bible, accounts of people God has used.
Mm,
There's Moses who had an anger issue. I mean, he
mm,
murdered people. There's
yes.
David who stole a man's wife, tried to get him killed not once, not twice, but about three times, right?
Wow.
And when it
Wow.
was time to pass judgment on the person, not knowing it was him, he was ready to judge. And God called him his friend.
Mm-hmm.
There's Rahab, the harlot. That's his
Yes.
prostitute. That's the
Right.
hoochie mama. And God said, you will be in the lineage of my son, Jesus Christ.
Yes.
God is looking for those people who are willing to depend on him.
Mm-hmm.
His ways are not our ways. He says he uses the foolish things of the world to confound
Right.
the wise, quote
The wise.
unquote.
Mm-hmm.
You're in the best position actually to leverage your relationship with Jesus. And that's the thing with, the devil likes to trick people out of. You've got to be perfect to come to Jesus. Now, when I gave my life to Christ, I was at the worst state of my life, right? I was a sinner. I didn't know him. At that
Mm-hmm.
time, he called me.
Mm-hmm.
So before I knew, like, I've accepted Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, he called me. So when I was a sinner, he beckoned. He didn't call me when I became a Christian. He says, continue the relationship, but
Yes.
he's ever ready to
Mm-hmm.
accept you. Now, of course, he accepts you and he helps you change, but he loves you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's man's way to say, no, let me get right before I come. God says, come as you are.
Just the way
But
you are.
expect to change. But expect
Yeah.
to change.
Expect
I
to
will make
change.
you more like me.
Mm-hmm.
Every day you ever becoming till you meet me in glory.
Mm-hmm.
So if you man, the worse you are, shoot, the more you can leverage that relationship, God's mercy, God's grace. Now,
Yes.
does it the church and the body of Christ sometimes makes that hard.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It does make it hard, and we're not perfect people, but we serve a perfect God.
Yes.
And I know that there are people God will send to you to show you that love in one variation or different seasons of your life.
Of
I
your
know
life.
God is so merciful, He'll do that. It may not be the church you expected or the people you expected, but He'll show you that He loves you as you are.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing, He will expect you to change. And if you allow Him, He will invade every part of your life and make you more and more like Him.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
This is true. And when you say, I like what you said when you said something along the lines that the worse off you are, it's kind of like how he answered someone, I can't recall his name, but he said, who would love much? And it comes out to be the one who was forgiven much. Right? So it's true. You can just come as you are. God offers a no judgment zone. Another question I had about your testimony is, okay, so you got evangelized negatively. What did you end up doing? Because, there's some people who have been in the same situation you have and they never found the strength, or maybe like they just stayed there because they were like, well, I guess, I don't want to hurt somebody's feeling. What ended up happening to that particular person that you tried to evangelize and it didn't, and it worked the other way around?
So it's so interesting. I thank God for His mercy and the power of praying parents, especially my praying mom. I know my
Mm-hmm.
dad also prayed, but I feel my mom because she would always call and pray and call and pray and call and pray. Um, so the Spirit of the Lord would not leave me, and it got to the point where I would dabble in essentially witchcraft.
Hmm.
He was into witchcraft and tried to introduce me to. which and the plan was to try to get. I'm sharing this just so you know how far I went, so it doesn't
Mm.
sound like, oh, she's a goody two shoes. She had like I was living in sin. I had
Wow.
even contemplated marrying this person.
Yes.
I had already not kept myself in marriage, so I
Mm-hmm.
figured if I married, then it'd still be a good cover. At least I ended up marrying him, so I was going to
Right.
try to make it work.
Yes.
And but I had lost my peace.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I remember my brother called me and said to me, spoke some words and said, "You're the person that people looked up to. Do you not remember this and this and this and what you spoke to me?" And to
Mm-hmm.
today, those things still challenge me, and I use it to encourage other people. You
Yes.
know, I was like, this is, I was, even people tell me, I'm shocked that you are at the point where you are backsliding. But it was
Wow.
a friend came and said, "Hey, there's a fellowship. Come, young people, come." And I said, "Nah, and let me just go. Young people coming together, why not?" And I
Mm-hmm.
go, and that's where I'm like, oh my goodness, I miss this piece, and I want to carry it and go, have it go with me.
Yes.
And so there was a wake up call.
Uh-huh.
I had to make a choice.
Uh-huh.
And so when I had that encounter with God and I prayed, I had to sever ties. Oh, I
Yes.
had to sever ties. I had to sever
Yes.
ties. And I so it was hard because we were actually in the same area. So it
Mm-hmm.
was hard, but no. And so I thank God for a new set of people who surrounded me, who helped me grow. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's why community, you cannot grow as a Christian in isolation. You need
Mm-hmm.
iron to sharpen iron. So
Mm-hmm.
we grew, it's called BCF, Bethel Christian Fellowship. They're campus, Bethel Campus Fellowship. They're campus fellowship in different schools, and they're
Uh-huh.
growing young people, people in college for Christ, because college is sometimes the place where people tend to forget God and you get into
Yes,
new
this is true.
theories. And
Right.
so, so I started surrounding myself with people like that. And so I would go to Maryland. I lived in New York at the time. I would go to Maryland over the weekend to fellowship, come
Wow.
back refreshed. And so
Yes.
it was hard seeing him, and I was like, yeah, no, I'm good. Let me start going back. So I went back to church, joined my community, or created a new community for myself, started serving in
Yes.
church. And I had people check on me, see how I was doing. My friends would say, well, let's go. There's a fellowship here. There's a conference here. There's a Christian concert here. So I started immersing myself back. We have to be careful. Evil company corrupts good manners. Like,
True.
eh,
This is true.
I just thank God for His mercy because
Mm-hmm.
even He said to me, "There's a light about you that you don't know. There's a light about
Mm-hmm.
you," and I'll be
Mm-hmm.
like, "Yeah, okay." But I thank God that that light also pushed him away,
Yeah. Okay.
and it pushed. I believe it pushed him away because he was also a little scared of the light. He said,
I
"He's like, you
see.
have so much power. You don't know. You wield like. I believe it was God's mark on me. I was like, this one is mine.
This one is
This one
mine.
is mine."
This
So
one is mine.
I thank God for His mercy. I don't downplay that testimony because, man, yeah, yeah.
You know what, everyone? Dr. O, as we love to call her, said a handful. She talked about God always being available, Him not judging you, Him always welcoming you with open arms, you coming back to Him just as you are, the importance of fellowship, and also how your light can actually shun people away who are not supposed to be in your life. That's a handful. We're going to go and just ponder upon that. And for the one who is thinking, okay, I'm too far gone, you're not too far gone. She even went deep, into revealing something that's quite personal with us today. And so I thank you so much, Dr. O, for everything that you shared in this short time. Absolutely, we would love to welcome you back on another time so we could go into some more stories because I know that there are layers and layers of God goodness in your life and what He has
Man.
done over the years. But anyway, if somebody wanted to actually reach out to you, how could they do so?
So you can find me on the web, on social media handles as well. I am
Mhm.
on Facebook as Tolulope Olabintan, also under our medical practice website, so Living Spring Family Medical Center. I'm also on YouTube. If you just Google my name, you see different handles. And you can also email me at hello@livingspringmedicals.com.
And
Yes. And sign up for our
also,
newsletter on there too. Yes.
yes, and she didn't quite go into it, but she's such a great physician. In fact, she is my family doctor. If you are in the area, her office is in Mansfield. It's in the big Dallas Fort Worth area. If you're in need of a great doctor, please do not hesitate to consider Dr. O. She's fantastic. Even just stepping into her office, you know that you are in the presence of someone who serves the Lord and loves the Lord. So I strongly advise you to go and look her up. And if you're in need of some medical treatment, you can. But also on her social media handles, she is forever talking about ways that you can better and improve your quality of life. So do not hesitate to go and listen in. There's so many nuggets that, you would learn for your health and everything like that. So, Dr. O, thank you so much for stopping by today.
Thank you for having me. This was fun. It went by quickly. So thank you. It went by quickly.
And thank you, everyone, for tuning in today. We will see you next time and be blessed. Bye bye. Thank you for listening to the Science of Gratitude podcast. If this episode resonated with you, please subscribe, share it, and leave us a review. Your support helps us keep spreading the power of gratitude. And until next time, stay grateful. God bless you.